We've come to East Acton now, in London, to visit the Combine winning lofts of George Morris and Son. Good morning, George.
Good morning, Keith. Pleased to meet you.
Pleased to meet you, mate. I think we've met once before, you say?
Yeah, about 12 years ago you did an article in the Pictorial when I was racing North Road.
Yeah, bugger if I can remember that. You had a good season last season.
I had a particularly good week, two good performances in July. I started off, I was third section, 7th Open Po National, and the following weekend I won the Combine from Bergerac.
Yeah, what Combine was that?
That was the South East Combine.
Yeah, wonderful. Like a dream weekend, eh?
Oh, I've been waiting 30 odd years for something like that.
Yeah.
It's been well worth it, yeah.
What's one or two of your other best performances?
Well, I also won Nance this year and Ponterson. The Ponterson Pigeon was 11th Combine and the Nance Pigeon was, I think, about 20th Combine.
Yeah.
And since I've been flying on the South Road 4 years ago, I've won Bergerac each year. In fact, I've won all of the channel points now, so
Yeah.
I'm quite pleased. You know.
Did you fly North Road then, did you?
Yeah, I started off from a boy, starting with my dad when I was about 11, and we flew North Road, you know, not with much success to begin with, but sort of from the beginning in the 80s, we started doing particularly well at the distance.
Yeah.
And in fact, on my last 13 years flying North, we managed to win Thurso 11 times out of that.
That's absolutely brilliant. Do you like long distance best then?
I do, yeah. I mean, obviously, I seem to have the family of pigeons that do well, so naturally, you know, that's what you sort of aim at, basically. But I do like week-to-week racing, you know.
Yeah.
That's why I keep some widowed cocks in there, just so I can compete, you know, in the early part of the season, you know.
This is your Combine winner then, George.
Yeah.
What system was she raced on?
She was racing natural, sitting 12 days, Keith.
Yeah, has she won anything previous?
No, she took a position about 3 weeks previous to that. She was third club from Poitiers. That's really what prompted me to send her on to Bergerac, because she was so well at the time.
Yeah. What family is she?
She's out of my old distance family, a granddaughter out of what I call the old Thurso cock, who's responsible for a lot of my winning pigeons at 400 and 500 miles. The mother is a pigeon that I bred down from George White of Kent. He's a dad of one of our members, and she made a good cross for my old family.
What system do you race your old birds on in, George?
Well, actually, Keith, I'm doing a bit of both widowwood and natural. Widowwood pigeons I mainly concentrate in land with, but for channel and distance I prefer to race them natural.
Yeah. When do you pair them up?
Well, the widowwood pigeons about the end of January, but the natural pigeons I'll leave until about the second week in March before I pair them up.
Yeah. How about training?
Well, training I do mostly myself. Basically, if I can get them down to the coast occasionally, I do that for the channel, but not too far. I find it difficult through work actually to do much training, but I have to try and use inland racing to just try and get them fit, you know.
Yeah. So what's your build-up for the long distance racing for a pigeon? How many races would you have on the channel?
Well, if we take that Po pigeon for example, I gave him 2 inland races, and then I jumped him into Poitiers, 340 mile.
Yeah.
He had a good 9-hour fly out of there, which really toned him up. And after that, I didn't give any more races. I just give him the occasional toss just to keep him ticking over.
Yeah. Was he a natural pigeon?
Natural pigeon, yes. Again, sitting 10 days he was, yeah.
Yeah. What time did you clock in from Po?
9:15 at night, so he was doing 15 and a half hours that
I
day.
say that was some week for you, wasn't it?
Oh, it was. What with the Bergerac win the week afterwards, you know,
Yeah.
a Combine win. So I was up on cloud 9 for about a fortnight after that.
Was she a day pigeon out of Bergerac?
Yeah, she was about 11 hours 36, I think she was doing. So yeah, she was doing 1100, 1167. So I had 4 on the day that day from Bergerac.
Absolutely brilliant performance, mate. How far is it?
462, I think it is, Bergerac.
Yeah. What's your favourite conditioning for sending pigeons a long distance then?
I like 10 to 12 days. I've tried different, you know, I've tried youngsters and that. I don't do too well on youngsters.
Yeah.
But I think it's a lot to knowing about particular pigeons, you know. I had one cock many years ago that won Thurso twice, and I found he was best just taking his hen away from him.
Yeah.
When I had him on eggs, no good. As soon as I took his hen away from him and sent him, he won 2 years out of 3. So I think you need to know the pigeon's particular likes and dislikes.
Individuals, yeah.
Yeah.
This is a nice pigeon, George. What's this one?
This is the pigeon I got from Poe this year, 7th Open, Keith. But he's done well in the past as well. As a 2-year-old, he won Bergerac, 13.5 hours on the wing. And then 3 weeks later, I sent him on to the Saints National, and he was 34th section, 159th Open. So
yeah,
he really likes it once it gets over 12 hours.
Class pigeon, mate, isn't he? What family is he?
Again, he goes back to my old family. He's a grandson out of that pigeon I mentioned earlier, the old Thurso cock, who's been responsible for a hell of a lot of good pigeons for me.
Yeah. And how was he sent to Poe?
How old?
How was he sent? How was he sitting?
He was sent sitting 10-day eggs.
Yeah. Beautiful pigeon, mate. Congratulations.
Thanks, Keith.
And this is the scene inside George's widowwood section. These pigeons are now paired up and feeding. And this loft contains 12 nest boxes. So you've got your own families of pigeons then, George. Where do they originate from?
Well, really, I can go back to the sort of middle 70s when we started getting these pigeons together, Keith. The main pair that I can trace all of my particularly long distance pigeons to originated from a pigeon that was bred for me by my good mate Jerry Delaney. He bred me a pair of pigeons when I first moved. That was the hen, and the cock was originally a Havnith pigeon, originated from Stan Towers in East London. So I can trace all of the pigeons back to that pair, really.
Yeah, and you bring in the odd cross.
Bring in the odd cross, as I mentioned earlier, the pigeon from George White of Kent, which has proved the mother of the Combine winner this year. And odd ones along the way, but mainly keeping really to the same family. You know, I found that best.
Yeah, so they're excellent on the long distance. They win the odd sprint race.
Yeah, I've got a cock in here who again, actually the mother of that Combine winner. He's won 3 inland races for me. But during that period, particularly in the 80s when we was on the north, they was doing well short and long, you know, winning fed averages as well.
Yeah. Do you race any widowwood cocks on the long distance?
Yes, I have. In fact, the first year I went south, I had the only bird on the day from Bergerac, and that was a widowwood cock.
George has 2 very smart lofts in his small backyard. The natural pigeons are kept in a 12x6 loft with the young birds, and the widowwood cocks have got an 8-foot loft, and all trappings for open doors. This is a class looking cock. Jules, what's this one?
Again, out of the old family, a grandson of the old boy Keith. Well, last year flying north, he was he won out of Fraserburgh 430 miles, and then went on to be 2nd Thurso. Turned him round south, and in the 2nd year on the south, he was 1st Poitiers and 2nd Bergerac.
How many young birds you breed each season in George?
About 30 to 36, Keith.
Yeah. How far do they go?
All the way, if I think they're right.
Yeah. How far's that?
Well, that would be on this road. We go down into sort of Truro Wadey Bridge. Last year they tried Sartilly, but I don't think they're going to do that again this year.
No. How about the national? You send them to the national?
I did, yeah. I've 2 years I've had the national, a young bird national, but no good last year. I had a decent one the year before.
Yeah.
I took some pulls out of the national.
How about training them?
I like to train young birds at least twice a week, possible, 2 or 3 times possibly. I think the more you can work them, the better they're likely to be.
Yeah. All right, George. Thank you very much for showing me your Poe pigeon and your Combine wins today, mate. Credit to you.
Thanks for coming, Keith. I'm very pleased about it.
The Combine winning loft of George Morris of East Acton.